Hey, this is Carl with Future Achievers, back with another inspirational interview. Today, my guest is Michael O'Rourke. I was super excited when my wife said that she used to work for him and was able to connect us. Michael is a celebrity stylist, brand creator, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and so much more. In this conversation, he shares his wisdom about business and also about life. It's a great conversation. I'm on the edge of my seat the entire time. I'm sure you'll enjoy it as well. Join us.
Thank you for the opportunity of having to talk to you in the first place. I appreciate it. And let's see if we can help some of the kids.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you. I am just in awe. I've watched your videos on your Facebook page, and you're standing in the same spot. So I kind of feel like I'm
Yeah,
right there with you. Got your
you, you
Muhammad
know,
Ali picture behind
you
you.
know what, Carl? We're looking at Muhammad Ali, right?
Yes, sir.
I want to tell the kids something about him. He was given nothing. He started working as a little kid in the boxing training and training and training. There's nothing given to you. You have to go out there and find it. He ended up doing the Olympics. There was nobody saying, oh my gosh, Muhammad Ali, you're going to be an amazing fighter. He had to fight for every step of the way as a kid to get somewhere. And I sometimes think we forget how hard it is to find a spot where you can actually grow. And this is very important for them to understand. There's an example right there of a man that clawed up from nothing. Very important example.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that common? I mean, we were talking the other day,
Yeah.
yeah, is that common to have to climb up,
Yes,
from
it
hard
is.
places?
And Carl, what happens is, I don't know if it's the new generation, but they're on social media. Everything looks amazing and sunshine and whatever.
Yeah, it
But
does.
truthfully, there is nothing easy in this life. You have to earn it. Um, when I was a kid, we know my background. We were orphans and all of this stuff, but whatever. I went to a salon. I think I was 16 years old. I said, please do me a favor. I will do anything. I'll sweep the floors. I'll clean the mirrors. I'll do everything, whatever it is. And in those days, they made you apprentice. So for 3 years, I was like, you have no idea. They treated me. They worked me. But you know something? Years later, I owned that salon.
Wow.
So you must understand, you can't be scared to go on your knees first, because that's how you start. You can't start getting a great salary. And this is what's expected today. And I just think it's wrong. You have to go beg your way in, prove who you are, fight for it, and then you know what happens? You could own the whole damn planet,
Yeah.
This is very important to understand, because there is no easy way. And sometimes the kids think, well, look at them. They got this car, they got this. I want the same. True, you can have it all, but it takes hard work, perseverance, proving who you are, being a good person. There's a lot of things that go with it. You can't have anger. You can't have resentment. Those things will never allow you to grow. They hold you back. They make you bitter. And then how can you be a power human being when you're bitter about everything? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Michael, let me ask you though, how can you not be bitter? How do you get over that, right? Because now let me go back real quick, and we talked before, and I know you started to talk about your background a little bit more, but you mentioned real quick you grew up an orphan, and you
Yeah.
grew up in South Africa as an orphan at a very young age, and at
Yeah.
16 you walked into a salon. But you could have been very angry, you could have been very bitter, you could have been the world's against me, and you could have just went a totally different direction in your life. How did you get that confidence and whatever it took to walk in that salon at 16 and say, hey, I'll do anything, just give me a shot?
Carl, first of all, was I bitter? Of course I went through those stages. No, nobody, when you're
Okay.
down on your knees and everybody else looks like they're having the best time in your life, and they got all these things, you have resentment and you have bitterness. It is. But you know what you've got to go back to, Carl, is to the word thankfulness. Very important, because first of all, you're given life. You don't understand how precious that is. No matter how poor you are, no matter how down you are. I've driven through places in India, South America, and in Africa, where the kids are playing outside. There are hardly any clothes on. There's no food, but they're laughing and playing and carrying on as if everything's fine. Sometimes it's a mindset, but you got to understand thankfulness of the little you have first. You have to grow off that. And then as you get a little bit stronger, you start to say, you know what? I actually can think things. I'm not that stupid. People say I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid. I start to get a little bit of courage as I go. But you have to first start with saying, thank you for me being here. That's a start. You've got to start with some kind of thankfulness. Otherwise, you're angry all the time, you know, and that gets you nowhere, nowhere. I don't care what you say, you know, they say, well, I was on the street for years. I had no food. Yeah, you know what? Not only you, half the world has done that. So please don't think that you're a victim. You know, you're not. We're all, there's been poverty that you can't even imagine. If you go to India, people are born in the street, on the street, they've never seen a house, they barely have food to eat, and they smile when you see them. Why? I don't understand. It's absolutely unbelievable. But they're more thankful inward for what they have. And yeah. I think with all the materialistic things that we have and everything around us, it sets an example of decadence in my mind. I actually think it's wrong. I think the thing that I can't teach the kids yet because they don't have it, but if I had to teach all my peers and all the people that I know, here's the secret: less is more. To be honest.
Yeah. Now, somebody might say, though, that's easy for you to say, given the position that you're in, right? That less is more.
True. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, that's an amazing thing, because if I go back to some of the most powerful people in the world, whether it's Muhammad Ali or the guy from Tesla or whoever, if you look at them, you know something, they didn't start off with money. They didn't start with a family that's handing them things. These guys had to get down on their knees and work and struggle and battle, you know. And when you say that to me, I think to myself, I've said that before. I remember somebody saying to you, well, you're very lucky. Look what you have. And so I thought to myself, right, if you only knew the path I had to travel on my knees just to be able to feed myself. And I had a child very young, and to try and feed my child was unbelievable. You know what? They don't want to believe it because they think that you've got all this silver spoon, someone gave it to you.
Absolutely.
Nobody gives it to you. I want to tell you something. You have to go out, and you're first thankful, and secondly, do whatever it takes to get a little job, anything. Because when you do it and you show that you're trying hard and that you're going for it and that you're a good person, somebody's going to help you. I'm telling you, someone will help you somewhere, somehow, because of your attitude and your work ethic.
Michael, why did you choose doing hair? How did you make that choice to become a stylist?
You want to know, honestly? Because I was a terrible student. I wasn't very smart at all. I must probably have one of the lowest IQs on the planet. No. And so I thought, what else? What can I do? And so I ended up being a hairdresser. And you know something? It's been the most amazing thing ever. I'm so thankful I did it. But you know something? There wasn't many choices.
Yeah. No, but some. So you say that and you laugh, and I'm with you. But I guarantee there's a lot of people that would say you are a genius when it comes to hair.
You know something, and thankful to them. But I tell you what, if they had watched me over the years, they'd noticed that I was the first in the salon at 6:30 in the morning, and I was at the last in the salon at 10:30 at night. And when I did shows, I was first on the platform with my team. And when they turned the lights off, we were still working. Our work ethic was incredible. We worked so hard. And this is important. This, like I said from the beginning, nothing easy, you know. And these people that want easy, they never, maybe they can. But honestly, the percentages are absolutely, to me, 1%.
Yeah. Now, Michael, what do you say to the people with excuses? Because I used to be one of those people that oh, but Michael, I got sacrifices. I've got kids. I've got this. I've got that. You know, I want to hang out with my friends.
You know what? Here we go again. There's a lot of choices in life, and they don't seem like any when you're young and you're battling and things are dreadful. But the choices are What do you want from life? Do you want to be able to feel good about yourself? And I'll tell you, there's only one way: not playing with your friends, not hanging out. That's not going to get you anywhere. Go down the street. If there's a little place where they're selling groceries or whatever, go in and say, do you mind if I help you clean? If I can do something. The minute you start getting these work ethics, these principles of trying to help, you find doors open. You can't be home hanging out and think people are going to say, oh my gosh, let's go give you a break. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You got to make those breaks for yourself somehow by being proactive. And it's very scary, because think of me. I mean, when I got that job at 16, I'd already tried for other jobs long before that, and been thrown out. And I was going to be apprentice for some place, a plastic factory. And they laughed at me because, they thought I was so damn tiny and thin and scrawny. They thought, we're going to have a problem with this kid. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you have to, there's a thing inside all of us, and it's a hunger. And I don't mean for food. I mean, it's a hunger to be better. And in some strange way, you still have to earn it. It's not a gift. The gift is life. The earning of the other is you going out, doing whatever it takes, clean boots, shoes, clean a window. People think that's so degrading, but we all started there. We didn't start with a business. We started on our knees. And kids don't want to do that today. They want a good job out the door. I mean, that's
right.
You have to earn that. You have to earn it. But talking to some of your kids, remember, first, they're born, and they're born special. They have hands, they got a brain, they've got everything. They got health. The second thing is, they got to say to themselves, I'm going to be better than I am. So I'm going to try and find anything I can. I'll help my uncle. I'll go do this. I'll do anything for people to see me, that I want to work, and that I want to better myself. As soon as you start separating yourself a little bit like that, you actually find opportunity. And people say, oh, that doesn't happen. You know why? I don't think they're putting themselves out. They think it's going to happen automatically. It doesn't. It doesn't. You have to. I mean, you talk about me crawling on my knees. That's why I'm so short, because I really had to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, so did it get, or does it get easier as you get out there, as you put in the work? I mean, crawl on your knees, as you say. I mean, are there going to be people that are going to come and help you out, give you opportunities, help get you to the next level?
Yes, because remember, they see that you have value. I hate to say it that way, but they're looking at you and say, this kid's got some value. He wants to work. And honestly, Carl, it's in their benefit as well. Because if they find a kid that's hungry, that wants to work, it's their benefit. They're going to have someone that's going to do great work, keep the place together in the beginning, and later, with that work ethic, they know they can develop him or her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's very important to understand.
Now, Michael, we were talking about, the kids nowadays and kind of feeling like it's easy. You had, and we were talking about the materialistic side of things. In our previous conversation, you had mentioned that you had a complex.
Yes, I did. I had an inferiority complex. And, I actually spoke about it on Facebook, and I'll tell you what, I think it was the worst thing I should have done, but I did it, unfortunately. But what it does, inferiority complex, is because when I was a kid, I always felt second to everybody. I knew where I came from. People would look down at me. Oh, we know all this. But the point of it is, the other side of that was that it made me want to get there. It said, all right, I'm down. I want to do well. I'm going to fight for it harder than anybody, because the complex drives you. So one side, it makes you feel inferior. The other side, you absolutely get yourself driven. And that's important. A complex can be an asset if used correctly.
Yeah. And I remember you saying too, I asked you, kind of what drove you to be successful. And you said you were scared of being poor.
Yes, and you know something, I'll tell you something, Carl. I still have that fear.
Really?
Yes, I do. You know something? Life is a strange thing. You let go for a second, someone else will take your place. So you always have to be driving at it. And also that's part of business, because you can lose it like that. So you know what? I keep that fear always have that fear. I know it's not a good thing to work from, but again, it comes from a background, you know, you know what I mean? We live in fear, but we drive harder than anybody. We drive. This is important, you know?
Yeah. Michael, talk to me about the business. I'm sure there's probably going to be some young people that are watching this that are in high school and thinking about getting into cosmetology, or there's maybe some that are already in it. They've graduated or been to school.
Yeah.
I mean, talk to me about being a hairstylist. Where can it take you? What can you do with it?
Idea how powerful we are. They don't get it. And if you can understand just that power within you to change things, the way you live, the way you treat other people, I want to tell you something. There's no stopping you. You choose your own hours, right? This is what happens. Look at a hairdresser eating lunch. Have you ever seen him or her? It's like, where's my sandwich? Then the client says, don't get it yet. Just finish me and then have your lunch, right? So you finish, you're starving. You go to the next one, finish me, and then you think, when am I going to eat the sandwich? So what happens? You run outside, you grab the sandwich, right? Guess what? You shove it in your mouth, and it sticks right here. And you come right back. But you know something? I wouldn't change it for anything. I wouldn't want to have a bell to ring, and I've got to go on lunch. And then the bell rings, I have to come back from lunch. Give me a break. That's not us. We live everything by emotions. We feel it, and we sense it, and we behave it. Can you see that? Remember, they put me down. They were like, you're not smart. Put him in the back of the class. He's never going to make it. What's going to happen to this guy? You know? And what happened is I started to get that complex. Maybe I'm not smart. Maybe I'm not like other people. And then one day I said to myself, whoa, wait a minute. I am smart. I'm different. That's for sure. I mean, look at me. I'm in a nun's outfit. But the point of it is, I realized I am different, but I'm smart another way. I'm not smart like an accountant and a lawyer. I'm smart in creative and feeling and thinking. And when you know that as an artist, you can crank. As long as you know who you are. Right, Carl, let's start from the beginning. The one thing is that when you come out of school, don't go find some little salon where you're going to sit around and wait for a client. Go and find a salon that's hard to get into, beg them to get into, because they're going to push you to do all the dirty work. But it's a salon where they do good work, they have good ethics. And what happens is you grow within that salon. That means you mimic them, you learn from them. That's how you have to start. You start by looking for a decent place to go. And you might have to travel to it, but it's worth every single penny. Because if you start in a salon where they're sitting around moaning about life and so on, you're going to be exactly like them. Yeah. You're dead in the water. So look for something where it's hard to get into, beg your way in, and then you develop. That's very important. Secondly, once you're there, you got to put in more hours than anybody. You got to go at it, always be on time, stay late, be respectful. There's so many things you need to do for people to say, we'd love you to stay here. We want to, we want to keep you. And then you develop off that, because you're not learning how to work. You're also learning how to behave. You're learning how to dress. You know, I can tell you, when I went to that salon at 16, I'm sure they thought, what is this guy using? He's still wearing his clothes from when he was 12. You know what I mean? They teach you to dress. And remember, Carl, I mean, I would have some 40 or 50 new kids every month in my salons, because we had so many. And when they came, you could see that they had a hard time. But I tell you what, you look at them 4 years later, and they're managers and dressed well, and they're powerhouses. They're teaching the new kids. Yeah. You know, and it's a wonderful path if you think of it like that, you know.
And looking the part, the attitude, the dress, is that important?
You develop that, because remember, you also go in to where you can. That's why I said go to a decent salon. Why I say that is, you start to mimic the people that are in there. You see how they dress. You see how they talk to clients. You see their mannerism. You start to get the way they move, you know. And all of that's teaching you to come out of the dungeon that you're in, you know what I mean? You start to learn how to be a mensch, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, now I watched the interview that you did before, and you talked about your product lines. Of course, you created, I believe, the sexy hair and rock your hair, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that you talked about, though, and that was this idea that you wanted the women that came through your salon, you wanted them to feel sexy, like you wanted them to feel special.
Yeah, you know, it's a very powerful word, the word sexy. If you look on magazines, they're always marketing it.
Mm-hmm.
But just remember, I had at least 4 lines before that failed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I used, the one was called Ecoli. I had Rumble Boys. The point of it is, after working in the salon, I should have known in my heart that there's 2 things a woman would love to feel. One is beautiful, one is valuable, one is, essential. There's things that they want to feel. And so what happens, I thought to myself, if I know this, why don't I call the product that? So eventually I said, you know what, I'm going to get the word big sexy hair and put it on a can. And everybody thought it was nuts. And I went to the Chicago show and I had one display of the sexy, and I had the rest of it with that one line I had called Ecoli, which wasn't doing very well. In 1 hour, the red can sold out. And I said, amen. You know what? That's what they want. And then I made, 140 different products like that.
Wow. Wow.
And believe me, don't think that I wasn't broke all the time.
Really?
You can't just build something with no money. I had to beg for money from here, from there, from there. It's a journey on its own,
Yeah.
Someone said to me, I want to start a hair care line. I said, you know what? No problem. Take $5 million and 5 years later, you'll make your first dollar.
Wow.
If you really want to compete with the powerhouses,
Yeah. Yeah. So what you said, I didn't know this. You said you had 4 failed product lines.
Yeah.
Before you hit it big. What made you keep going? Like, how did you bounce back from that?
I think number one, let's go back to my complex.
Okay.
Yeah. I think having failures really kicked my ass. But I'll tell you what, again, there's an old story about failing yourself to success. It's so important. This is what happens. And remember, failure is always a lesson. You say to yourself, why did I fail? Maybe the name was wrong. Maybe I didn't package it right. You find out why you failed so you can do it right again, And it's a tough one because most people don't want to invest in you when you just failed a few times. You just have to be convincing enough and driven enough, and they feel they can. A lot of them buy you. They don't buy your idea. They buy you. They buy your energy. They buy your hunger. They buy the fact that they know you'll never give up. That's what they buy. So you have to be able to convince them who you are.
Yeah.
She said, I give to get. I give to get. I said, explain that to me in hairdresser terms. What does that mean? She says, when a client walks in, she says, I'd love to do a color on you. The client says, no, I'm so sorry. I don't have time and I don't have the money, right? She says, no, it's okay. I'm just going to put a few highlights around your face free. It's funny, they've got the time, right? All of a sudden when it says free, they're like, oh, I've got the time. But guess what? It's an investment. She does a few highlights around the face. The client goes home, everybody says, whoa, you look so good. You've been away, because it's lit around the face, right? Guess what happens? She comes back for the next 7 years and there's full highlights, right? So what did she do? She gave a little to get a lot back. Can you see that? And if you can run your life like that, give, it always comes back so powerful. It really does.
Michael, I tell you, again, I appreciate you talking to me and taking this time with me. What else you got for me? Give me some more gems.
Well, something, I think if we look at life right now, and I think I said to you, number one, be thankful that you're born, be thankful for the gifts you get. Number two, I always think that we push for this big life of, to show to everybody, which is complex. Again, look at me, I made it, I did this.
Right.
If you could learn earlier that that's not important, your family's important, keep it tight. You don't need to get a big house. Get something that you can control. And if you ever make any more money, buy something else. But keep it tight. And that way you'll live a great life. We all drive for the biggest things on the planet. And for truthfully, it'll hurt you one day unless you can hold it tight,
Mm-hmm. So now what do you have going on? What's next for you? Are you still working? Are you still out there?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Something, working, as we call it, is is part of my life. I don't know anything else. I really don't. I mean, from 16 to where I am now, I don't know if I'm over 100 yet, but somewhere around there. I just understand work. I live it, I breathe it. And so I'll start something most probably by March, something in the tools, and then add some stuff to it and create something fun again. And, I always used to say, how do I get to 100 million? How do I get, and that's what I did. Now I say, you don't need a big company, the small company, and you can earn a reasonable life. And that's a great place to be.